everybody. Is anybody here? I can't tell. I'm on a different streaming system. If anyone's here, pop up on the chat. I'll start up pretty soon here. Nice to see everybody, or notionally, virtually. Let's get ready to go here. I'm going to get started in a minute or two. I guess I'll start with, I have a fun story to tell you, and I also want to say that some of the rules of engagement for tonight are I'm going to brief and talk for maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I have a lesson for us tonight. And then after that, if I have questions in the chat, I'll answer them. So I'm really excited to be here. It was really fun to figure out the software. I'm using OBS with Facebook, and it's super fun. So if anyone's here, pop up on the chat. I can't tell from this software if anyone's over here. I'll figure that out too. So I want to talk today about mindset work, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about coaching philosophy. And I'm going to start off with a story. Now, if you're coming late to the chat, I'll show it later, but I want to show a picture of my mom. My mom is really interesting. My mom is funny. This is a picture of my mom. This is her a couple of years ago when I was a brunette, and we were having fun partying down in Fairhope, Alabama. All right, so she's really funny. She doesn't really think that I work very hard. I guess I kind of don't. She feels like if you're not on a tractor, and if you're not a CEO, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, that you're not actually really working. So she said to me maybe a year ago, like, Elizabeth, what do you do? Like, what do you do all day? Explain to me what you do. And she sat back, arms crossed, and I said, he's like, you like talk to people? Like, what is that? And I explained coaching and mindset work, and I explained energy healing, and she said, huh? And we went over some affirmations and mindset work, and auto-suggestion and some of the things I work on, and working with the paradigm, your limiting beliefs, which we're going to talk about tonight. And she said, the next morning she woke up, and we're watching Suits. She was loving to watch Suits at the time. So we're watching Suits with her, petting her dogs, and around 9 a.m. she says, Elizabeth, time for a drink. Go get me a vodka and soda. So I said, okay. So I made her a drink, 2 fingers of vodka with ice and a lot of soda. I was good. I waited to start drinking till 9:30. So I brought her drink, and she said, Elizabeth, I want to talk to you about something. I can't help but feel that everything you do is bullshit, like all this talky stuff. And so I just thought it was really funny, and we're all this coaching that I do and that a lot of people do is going to show us that is actually very valuable stuff and very useful stuff. But to her point, or to my point I'm making now, I would say only 1 or 2% of the population is actually interested in coaching and mindset work. So let's get started with my presentation. So this presentation I want to give to you tonight and talk about is actually week 3 of my coaching when I have clients. And this is about what the main focus is. I'm going to be discussing sort of coaching philosophy and how I go about it. A paradigm, we're going to get into this in some detail. A paradigm is a big program that's actually running you. And when I talk about paradigm, I'm talking about part of your subconscious that kind of keeps you limited and keeps you running self-sabotage programs. And we're going to talk about it in more detail. But the paradigm is the stuff that keeps you stuck, right? And one reason it's good to get a mentor or coach is because a lot of us, you don't even know when you're in the paradigm. You stop doing the work to achieve your goals or to live your best life. And because the paradigm's taken over and you don't realize it. So it's really super good to have a coach, right? Really fun. So, and then the wants are basically your goals. So let's talk about that. Now, like I said, I've been with clients for 3 weeks now, and by the time they get this presentation. But what I would talk to them about, and what I'll say to you, is whatever process you're doing, if you're my client, or if you are a solitary, or you're working with somebody else, are you doing the repetition? And what I mean by that is whatever, like I give out what I call a sauce, which is an hour to an hour and a half of work every day for a person. I remember years ago when I was doing mindset work, I was doing 10 minutes a day of writing, affirmations out 25 times, and then get back to the rest of my day. And I learned many years later that it wasn't enough time during the day, and it wasn't for long enough, for months and years. And basically, when you're doing this work, it's actually for the rest of your life. So are you doing the daily things? Are you doing it? Are you doing it? The subconscious mind loves repetition. All right. And then also if you flop over and you stop doing the work that I give you or someone else does, try not to make it last more than 2 days that you're skipping your work. And if you're watching this or you're watching this later, I just ask that you watch this lesson 4 times. Or anything you do, watch it over and over, because you may not hear everything the first time. But in order to make massive quantum leaps and make real advances in your life, it's important to do these things, to do the daily repetition. I kind of break down my coaching into 4 things. It's important to learn the material that I teach or anyone teaches. It's important to get emotionally involved in terms of really wanting something. And now when I say wanting, I'm not saying, a desperate wanting, like you won't need to have it or you'll die. I'm saying have a really strong desire, because a desire is going to kick your paradigm's ass. All right, and then do the repetition. And then as you're doing the repetition, you're going to get inspiring thoughts are going to drop in, and you're going to be able to take inspired action on what you're doing. Another way I like to talk about it is, first, when I work with clients, or if you're working with yourself, get a goal. It's really important to have a goal, and a really, really big goal, as we'll discuss in this presentation. And then you do the mindset work. The second thing is doing the mindset work and working on the paradigm, training it, getting it in shape, learning to push it aside. We don't want to beat it up, but it is kind of like a con man. We're going to talk about that. Removing or dissolving the ill-serving parts of your paradigm, all those limiting beliefs and things you say to yourself, the self-talk, or believing or listening to what other people say, right? Number 2, we work on that mindset stuff. The third step is beginning to put the good stuff in, putting the good affirmations in, right? And then beginning to action ideas, where you actually get that inspired action. Yeah. The third thing I would say first is do the daily things that you already know to do. If you're starting a new life, just do what you already know to do. You want to start a business, you might think of getting a tax ID number, or getting an LLC or a sole proprietorship registered. If you want to be good in a relationship, you might take the workshop or read a book or work with your partner on understanding them better, rather than just getting married and forgetting about working on the relationship after that. So you do the dailies of what you already know to do. And then after that, after you do the work, you'll begin to have inspired action of what you want to do. You'll have inspired action, the thing will drop. Like, I wanted to write and publish a book this year, and it hadn't gotten to it, and it already was September. And I had a manuscript I was working on for over a year, and I had ignored it. I was kind of hating it. And just in the last bit of the year, this thing dropped. Like, just get that book done, and I did, and it's with the publisher now. So, if you flop on any of these things, or you kind of fall on your face a little bit, don't give up. There's grace. Okay. And you may have heard me say this before, or you may have heard it from other people, but I have a model that I talk about, the 3 minds. And this is from the iceberg model, which is from the Master Resiliency Program from the Army. But I really like this idea of the conscious mind represented by the part of the iceberg you can see, the subconscious mind being the part of the iceberg you can't. It's often much bigger. That's what the Titanic hit, right? And the superconscious mind being God, or being everywhere else. And it's through the subconscious mind that you reach the superconscious mind. You can call it God, spirit, the universe, whomever you talk to. All right. So when we talk about the 3 minds, I want to say the conscious mind is the part you know. That's why it's above the water. It's your thinking, your education, your intellect, gatekeeper. It's the gatekeeper to what gets into your subconscious mind. We're going to describe that in a little bit. It can accept or reject ideas. In fact, it originates ideas. All right, you get to choose. You get out there, you get your knowledge, you use your logical mind, and you make decisions. Right? You are creative here. The creative ideas, they do come from the subconscious mind, but when a creative idea comes to your consciousness, then you can act on it, right? But the conscious mind is only 2% of your results. Only 2%. Most of your life is run by your subconscious mind. You can choose whether you want to have Cheerios or Captain Crunch for breakfast with your conscious mind. But if you're not paying attention, you might find yourself just pouring out the Cheerios without paying attention. You can choose the color socks you want to put on, but you might just find yourself pulling on a pair of socks and not paying attention. You can actually drive to work without paying much attention, or strum a guitar and finger chords without paying much attention with muscle memory. There's many good parts of the subconscious we want to keep, such as those kinds of things. But it's important to know that in the subconscious mind, it's the emotional mind. It's where your real deep desires come from. It cannot reject ideas. It can only accept ideas. It has to accept ideas whether they're real or imagined. It has to accept ideas whether they're right or wrong, or they're immoral or they're moral. It's super important The subconscious mind runs you, it rules you. It's 98% of all of your results and behavior. That's why it's really important to mentally rehearse what you want. Okay? What this says under my beautiful face is superconscious mind. So when I talk about the conscious mind being the gatekeeper, what I mean is it is super important to watch your thinking and watch what you say, because even if you're being snarky and gossiping or grousing about somebody else or about a situation or about geopolitical situations and such, if you talk too negatively all the time, it begins to come into you. It will accept it. Your subconscious may begin to think you're talking about you. And the subconscious mind does require a lot of repetition. So one nasty thought, one angry thought or statement is not going to do it. But if you forever are saying negative things, it's going to actually kind of boomerang or ricochet back to you. So it's really important at some point to begin to think about what you want. Now let's talk about the paradigm. Like I said, it's a program that's running you. It will put up a royal battle. As you begin to grow and change, let's say you want to, I have a concept I talk about, for example, A+ relationships, only A+ friendships, only A+ people in your life. And if you are, maybe gently, graciously having people leave your life because you just stop talking to them or they stop contacting you, as your vibe raises, you might lose some friendships, might disappear, new friendships will come in. But along the way, the paradigm might put up royal battle, like, well, you're supposed to stay with your friends forever, or you'll be upset because so-and-so talks to you, you never talk to her anymore, and you'll listen to your other friends that will, make you feel guilty. So the paradigm can begin to pull you down as you begin to change. It's like a demon or a con man. It's always pulling you down. And again, it's good to have mentors or coach or some sort of mastermind group of people that love you and only support you, because you can be in the paradigm without even knowing it. I'm scary to change because the paradigm doesn't like change, and the paradigm is the devil you already know. Let's say your life's somewhat mediocre in certain areas. Well, you might just stick with it because it's all you got. It's all you got. Whenever you have making stories or explanations for why something didn't happen or why you didn't do something, or you're making excuses or you're making complaints, your use of time, if you're wasting time, or if your ideas, your perceptions about the world, your results, your paradigm showing. So, but when you're just like, I'm going to do it now, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to pivot forward, that's when your subconscious is beginning to take over and your conscious mind is ruling that. We're going to talk about positive use of the conscious mind in a minute. But basically, you may not even realize the paradigm is, kind of taking over. And so what I teach is, when you find yourself doing your stinking thinking about the past, thinking that you're not going to be any good or have low self-concept or low self-image and stuff like that, that's your paradigm pulling you down because it wants to keep you safe. Like I said, the paradigm is a program that's running you. It's running all of your habitual behavior. And the habitual behavior is running about 95% of you or 98% of you. So it's super important to understand what's going on with the paradigm. And you'll always, even today, I'll still forget that the paradigm's running me. I can't see any comments in the chat, so if you're here, if you happen to be here, please come in the chat. I'll post this later. I'm doing it live now, but I'll post it later so you can see it when you get to it. So this style of coaching actually comprises hundreds of years of combined teaching and mentorship and coaching, from Abdullah, who taught Neville Goddard, to Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, James Earl Shoaff, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Arash Vasugi, who's my coach. And it worked for all of them and their clients and during all their workshops and all the books they wrote. And it will also work for you. If we can do it, you can do it. A lot of you out there are way smarter and more driven and powerful than me. A lot of the thing that the paradigm does to us, is it gives us fear and doubt. And I just want to tell you that fear is absolute crap. Doubt and fear are part of your paradigm. It's the old conditioning. And when you get sad or depressed or tired or ill, the paradigm can take over. It gets you when you're tired and stressed. So what I teach my clients is, and I try to do, is like, do a baller move every day. Be a dog, D-A-W-G, dog. Get out there and do something you're afraid of or you're avoidant about every day when you can. It took me quite a bit of time to be able to get to the state where I'm doing chores and things I avoid. Like I try to do a money chore every day. I don't enjoy managing my money. I have money, but it's just, I don't want to move it around. I don't want to do stuff with it. Bills are paid, but I just don't enjoy it. But moving toward a space where I just do it every day with some neutral happiness or whatever, it gets much easier. And there's a lot of chores I don't want to do, like learning new applications on a computer. but we just get there. But I just do the thing you fear. And Emerson said, do the thing you fear and you'll have the power. It's always important to take action before you're ready. So if you're thinking of starting a channel or getting on social media or coaching or starting a business or getting into a great relationship or getting into the best shape of your life, you just got to start doing it. And don't just wait till whatever. I have a lot of clients who say, I want to wait till after the holidays to start coaching. I was like, no, the time is now. There's always be a reason not to do it. Or I'm going to wait to start to get fit after Christmas so I can eat what I want and stuff like that, right? Now, I do teach that it's important not to look at your outside world to determine your reality. What you see in the outside world is a result of your thinking from yesterday and a week ago and years ago, right? But you can look briefly at your outside results to see where you're at. It's kind of like a readout device. So you can actually look at your income, look at your relationships, look at your business and career, look at your weight, your fitness. Is your weight where you want it? Is your fitness where you want it? How happy are you? What's your sleep like? Like I know one for me, I've been working on my sleep. So, and what's under my face is, where have you messed up? Just fix it. There's grace. Just pick something and begin to work on it. I'm going to recommend you start with money because it helps a lot of things. I'm not saying money is the answer to everything, but in a lot of ways it really, really is. And like I said, a lot of you out there are way more capable and smarter than me. If I can do it, you can do it. If all these people can do it, you can do it. It's just the processes are easy to do and easy not to do. It's not hard. It's about the repetition and doing stuff when you don't feel like it. So let's talk about money a little bit. I think financial freedom is really important, and I do encourage a lot of my clients to move toward financial freedom because of what it does for you. A lot of us, most of us on the planet, I'd say, have a poverty consciousness. Like I have a friend of mine who's just staying in the Army extra years so he can, in his retirement, get $150 a month guaranteed. That's great. I love it. But what if he instead, his last 4 years in the Army, he started a business for himself? He could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and not being concerned about the extra 150. It's a choice, right? But you can do it. You can do life another way. I think aiming for financial freedom is one of the most worthy goals because of who you become. When you choose a financial goal, like a big one, you advance so quickly. You have to grow because you have to become the person that can receive that money. And all of that money work helps everything else, because so much of our low self-worth, not feeling worthy of being alive or being here, like not feeling loved, feeling abandoned, all of it raises up. It's like the ship, the water that raises all the boats when you work on money. And I'm not saying being a selfish jerk. I'm saying that if you try to leave the woodpile higher than you found it in life, like you give to charity, you do some pro bono stuff, or you start a 501c3, or you help out people or want to use it to support your kids getting into houses or whatever, financial freedom is so good for you. It can help your personality. Like imagine being able to pay for dinner or pay for people's hotel or pay for vacations. The discipline it gives you in managing your life so that you can receive that abundance, it can really help all of the things. And it's not about the hard work of earning the money. It's like what's coming to mind now is like, let's say you're working for $8 an hour or $20 an hour or $30 an hour, and you think, well, for me to become a millionaire, oh my gosh, how much money, how much time I'm going to have to work. I can't even do it. I can't even think about that. That affected me a little bit, that concept. But it's not that. It's not about the how. Most of the wealthiest people actually don't work as hard as people who work for $10 an hour. As loaders, like foremen or delivery people. It's because they have left the how to spirit to help them figure it out, and they have people working for them, and they've leveraged their skill set and hired other people. So you need to pay the price in grit and sticking to your goals and sticking to your desires and your process. It's what you do every day that gives you the success. And I'll tell you a little secret, it's actually not really about the goal, it's about who you're becoming. You get to develop you along the way. And if you fall in love with your own processes, like I said, I'm going to give you some today. I don't know if anybody's here, but I'm going to give you some today. And it's about falling in love with yourself and falling in love with the process. And then the goal just comes. You just begin to achieve the goal. So I do encourage you to think about a money goal. And I think about a really, really, really big goal. We're going to talk about goals in a minute. And like I said, it's not really about the goal at the end of the day. It is, but it isn't. It's almost like a little bit of a trick, personal trick, because you go for the goal, but who you become is really what it's about. And then you receive the goal. If you think about something, if you think about a goal you have, Neville Goddard would say, creation is finished. It's done. It's in your vortex, if you will. It's there. But it's in a field, it's in a vibration you can't reach yet because you're not there yet. You're not vibing at that level. Your goal might be here. You might be starting here with your money stuff or your relationship stuff. But if you're aiming here, you have to get to the vibration where that is in order to receive it. It's about becoming the person who's able to receive that goal. It's not about scratching and clawing and working super hard to get it, which so many of the people I know do. It's about believing in yourself. It's about getting out of your comfort zone. Like I said earlier, I try to do a baller move every day, something that scares me every day. And it could be a little scary, it could be a big scary, but I try to do things like that, like coming on here live and not knowing if anyone's even here. It's kind of scary, but who cares? We're here, right? Someone's going to watch it. It's going to help somebody out there at some point. And Jim Rohn has a great quote here. He says, working on doing well at your job can make you money, like I talked about my friend earlier, but working on yourself can make you a fortune. Now, let's talk about jobs for a minute. I'm not saying be a jerk at your job, but what I'm saying is it is super important to do your best at work. Like I say, leave the wood pile higher than you found it and take extreme responsibility. I used to tell soldiers to intend to work at a rank above so you can work your way into the promotion. Or if you're at your job, do more than your job. Now, of course, we want to do it gracefully and with savvy and good sense because you don't want to piss off your coworkers if you're acting arrogant. But there's ways to get along with people and be the best at your job. So you want to do that for sure. But really, it's about working on yourself. So, for example, my son is an IT guy. He went to IT boot camp. And he wanted to get extra certs and get a security clearance so that he could work for the government. As an example, he just wanted to get all the certs he can at the job he's at to give him more talent. So and again, it's about becoming 1% better every day. So this is kind of a crazy thought, but most of us think we have to work really hard. We have to logically plan out our business development, or logically plan out how to get the girl, get the guy, go on the great vacation, buy the house, or get in the best shape of our life. We have to plan it out, when really it's actually more, it's like 95% about mindset. It's about who you are. It's about doing that work, about where you are. You can't even change. I'm here to tell you, you can't even change if your mindset stays the same. You're still going to have the poverty thinking. You're still going to be overeating, or whatever it is you're not wanting to do to have your best life. Like, what is your ideal weight for you? What is your ideal fitness for you? What do you want out of life? If you don't change your mindset, you're going to, that's why we join gyms. And in January, and by the end of January, we don't go. That's when we start the diet and we don't keep it, because the paradigm is self-sabotaging you, because it's trying to keep you safe, because you're actually trying to do it yourself too hard with your logical, conscious mind. It's 5% strategy and 95% mindset. It's don't just work on your job or work on the strategy or your logical things you're doing. It's about your mindset. It's about doing your own work. And I'm not talking here about doing your inner shadow work and your inner child work and stuff. If you have trauma, for sure, you can talk to me about that too. It's good to work on. I'm just saying, actually, just to live your best life in a normal kind of way, strategizing for life. It's actually about who you're becoming and your own mindset. And I have here, it says the logical, rational, analytical mind gets in the way of quantum leaps because it keeps you smaller than the infinite you that's like God in a way. Your heart is what's telling you what you really want to do in life. And the logical mind will keep you limited because, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the time for that. I'll do that next year, right? So it keeps you limited. So it's how I tell clients to do this is, I have a couple slides ahead talking about it, but it's good to go into your heart to decide what it is you really want. And then use your conscious logical mind as your admin to figure out how to do it in ways, or start to get the next steps. And then, like I said, if you do the process that I teach or anyone teaches, or if you're doing it yourself, figuring it out yourself, if you do your affirmations, your auto-suggestion, your writing, your scripting, your recording your stuff and re-listening to it, doing your mirror work, getting in front of the mirror, all the things that we do, right, our visualizations, all the stuff I teach. You do that. As you're doing that, you'll eventually have inspired action. Inspired thoughts will drop in. You'll have hunches and hints, and then you can take inspired action. The logical mind is to help make that happen. So, for example, what dropped into mind is to write a book about, it's kind of like a 6th grade level, manage your own energy. The book's called The Light Within. I had the idea dropped about writing the book a year and a half ago, and the idea dropped of the kind of topics I would have in it. But it took my logical mind to open up Word or to get my voice to text app going and get it all on paper. And I needed my logical mind to sit down and write at the computer or whatever I was doing. But the idea of the idea of writing the book just dropped in. Does that make sense? But then I used my logical mind to kind of help make it happen. But it doesn't rule the roost. Okay, and part of the work I teach, I have something I call the Big Five. Now I'm using the Big Five game animals, but I suggest that you work on one of these at a time and improve 1% every day. You want to work on your self-image, your decision, your attitude, your standard, and your discipline. These are the Big Five that if you work on these a little bit every day, or like I say, pick one for a quarter of the year. The work I start clients doing is self-image first, because you can't outperform your self-image. So if you're not thinking you're worthy, well, you're not going to make all the money you want, or you're not going to have the relationship you want, or the fitness that you want, or the health that you want. Working on your self-image is super important. So I could recommend, if you want to pick one, work on that first. All of these are not in order. They're all interrelated. They all are of a piece. So you can move from one to the other. But like I teach making decisions quickly. It's important to make a decision from the heart about what you want. And then spirit or source, your superconscious mind, will make it happen as you just set your goal out there. But making decisions, and the decision can be no, but be able to make decisions like that, like yes, no, I want to do it. And you'll make it happen if you make the decision. And again, you can say no, no's a decision. And then having a positive attitude, having the attitude that like it's your responsibility to be cheerful every day. And that's what we do the work together to achieve. Having a good attitude, choosing a good attitude. And there's always many opportunities to have sad memories or events happen that can put you in a bad mood, but no one's putting you in a bad mood. You can choose to have the response that you want and change your attitude. And then setting standards, like setting the standard of like having standards that you'll only accept a certain amount of money for a certain product or service, or you're only going to have A+ relationships, or you're only going to like one thing I try to do in this house. I'm so blessed to live in this house. I try to make every room like an Airbnb. I want to live in a bed and breakfast. I want to live in a nice home. So every once in a while I go through the house and I'll paint a wall, or I'll move a piece of furniture around, or I'll repair something, because I have a standard for what I want my home to look like. Just an example, and we're all working where we're at. So trying to, like upstairs, I'm working on upstairs bathroom right now. I want to make it all Airbnb, and that's how I think about it. And then having the discipline of getting up and doing your affirmations or whatever it is, even when you don't want to, or doing the exercise even when you don't want to. So all of these things can help us, and this is the Big Five that I teach. So you can just pick one and begin to work on it. And if you're working with me, we'll work on it in a lot of detail. So I want to tell you that as you're moving through and achieving your goals and so forth, success is not permanent and failure is not fatal. And what I mean by that is, so let's say you flop on your face, like you're trying to get in the exercise routine, but you don't go to the gym for a week, and you just fall down on your face. You're not feeling good, you're feeling a little lazy, you do a little day drinking, a little binge watching of something. Just get up when you can. I say try not to do it for more than 2 days, but there's times when I've done it for way more than 2 days. Just pick it up. Just do it. You're right here, right now. Every day's a new day. Every day's a new day. Just start over. Okay, don't give up. And I also tell clients, like, don't give up and don't go away. Don't give up and don't go away. I used to show dogs back in the day. I used to show Rottweiler dogs. And I had a little female, she was a little bitch, but maybe not everyone calls female dogs bitches, but that's the proper term. So I had a young female I was showing, and her owner, her breeder, was also showing with me, her big stud, Tommy. And my little bitch, her name was Zena. And she, you have to get 15 points to get a championship on a dog. And she always said, she's from New Jersey, goes, don't give up and don't go away. Don't go away and you'll just get it. You'll get your championship. The judge will put you up because the judge knows that he or she owes you. Don't give up and don't go away. And also that success is a few disciplines done over time. So success is just getting up every day and doing the thing. The process that I teach anyway is very easy, and it's also easy not to do, but just get up every day and do it. Do it, do it, do it. Who knows what manifestation is going to take? 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 years, 10 years, but just you're going to give up and lay down in a fetal position and just give up, or you just get up every day and do it. And having that powerful desire will help you get your goal, because having a strong desire will be able to push the paradigm away. I say kick the paradigm's ass. And like I said, try to improve 1% everything every day, whether it's walking through the kitchen and organizing a drawer, whether it's adding a push-up, whether it's trying to fix your clean out the cupboards or trying to eat the right kind of foods, whatever's clean eating for you, whether it's like trying to talk to your partner about getting better communication. Just, like I say, time is going to pass anyway. You're here anyway. You may as well be great, right? So, and like I said, you cannot outperform your paradigm. So if you don't change who you are and your concept of who you are and your self-image, if your paradigm does not change, your results will stay the same from year to year. I hope I'm not missing the chat. I'm not seeing anybody in the chat. So let's talk about the conscious mind for a minute. This top line says higher faculties make them work for you. We have not been trained to use our objective, powerful minds, our conscious minds, for good. Instead, we rely on media, social media, the geopolitical situation, what he said, she said, our culture, our teachers. Even in the womb, we hear stuff from our parents, and they begin to form us. And so we look at our five senses, our sight, our hearing, our sense of touch, our hearing, our sight, our eyesight, all those five senses. And we look at that and say that that's our reality. And like I said, that's the reality we created yesterday and last week and last year. But today's a new day. You begin to create your own reality by looking inward and creating your own weather. And that's how you begin to train your subconscious to have like mostly good paradigms in there that are serving you, not serving you. And these 6 here are reason, perception, memory, intuition, imagination, and will. And let's talk about these for a minute. So what I'm saying is, it's important to not look at the outside world, like your bank account, what they said, what the media is saying, what's on the news, what's out there, what your boss did, or anything like that, what your partner did. It's important to register it for sure. But then you move inside and create your own weather and decide what it is you want. And I say to the clients, and say cancel, or I don't consent, cancel, clear, delete. And you just say, nope, I understand that there might be food shortages and gas this and fires and all things around the world, but it doesn't happen in my life. Again, I'm not saying don't have compassion for folks. I'm just saying it's important as you create your own reality and create your own best life, you actually help the world, because your field get these high vibe energies, and it sounds kind of woo, but if you're vibrating kind of high, it spreads out. I have people that I know that can see fields, see your aura, and they just say when you do a kind act and when you're vibrating high, it goes out like 50 to 100 yards and like sends good energy everywhere. You kind of like smear it everywhere, you just spray it everywhere, and it helps the entire world when you are doing really well. It's like the kind of idea of putting on your own oxygen tank. Put on your own oxygen mask on an airplane. So let's talk about reason. So you can use your reason to kind of go, oh my God, I'm going to have to live in a hovel. I'm going to have to live in a box under a bridge because everyone's going to lose their jobs. The government's out of money. And so I just better plan. I'm going to get a van. I'm just going to drive around, just live in the van so I don't have to live in a box. Now that's kind of using your reason to kind of go downhill a little bit. I mean, there's a concept out there like plan for the worst and hope for the best. I wouldn't even plan for the worst, actually. I would just plan for the highest and best that you can think of. You can use your reason to go, okay, this thing happened. What's next? I'll be able to figure this out. Let me figure this out. It's going to be fine, right? And you try to get to a neutral place where you're using your reason to overcome and move through your challenges and move through your projects with ease and fun instead of kind of moping. So you could use your reason to plan, like, for example, when I wanted to do a YouTube live, I knew that I had to refigure out OBS. So I spent 3 hours this week trying to figure it out. Did I really want to do that? No. But instead of grousing like, man, I'm just not going to do a YouTube live because I decided, no, I'm going to just use my reason to figure it out. And here we are. Okay. Now, let's talk about perception. You can decide how you want to perceive the world. Is it, like even Einstein said, you need to decide whether you think the universe is benevolent or not. Like, how do you think about the world? There's a lot of proof. If you have a perception's reality, right? If you perceive that the world's an evil place, you're going to see and experience evil things. Believe me or not. But when you think that perceive that the world, there are many, many good things in the world and many things to appreciate. Many lovely things like a sunset or a sunrise, or your children playing, or your children doing well, your grandkids. Beautiful flowers, a home, a warm, gentle home that you can live in. There's so many things out there, so you can change your perception of how you see reality. Like, yeah, there's pain and trouble, but you can overcome it, right? How badly does it have to affect you? You get to choose your response. Now let's talk about memory. Many of us think of the sad, unhappy memories of, the thing that happened and he did this. I can't believe he betrayed me. She did that. Oh my God, she stole all my money. And we have these memories that kind of bring us down. And I recommend you can use your memory, and this is a part of neurolinguistic programming teaches this as well. You can actually go to the good memories and call on the good memories and get to the feeling place of the good memories of the really best, the great intimacy you had with somebody one time, or your wedding day, or the birth of a child, or the great job you got, or the promotion, or the great vacation, or your great home you got to buy, or whatever it is, or the apartment you're renting that's wonderful. Go to those memories, and they can help you raise your vibe and feel better, because like I said, it's your job actually to give yourself the most relief possible. It's your job to move up the emotional scale. So David Hawkins talks about this and other people, but there's an emotional scale where grief, depression, shame is at the bottom of the scale. Below that is death, actually suicide or lack of will to live. Above that is like rage, and then anger, and then frustration, and then maybe acceptance, and maybe willingness and curiosity, and it moves up to joy, eventually joy, bliss, etc., etc. And if you're down in anger and frustration, it's good to move towards some ease where, well, I'm angry right now, but maybe I can move to a little acceptance of like, okay, well, here we are, what am I going to do about it, and get to some neutrality. And if you're at a level of acceptance and willingness, it's good to move toward maybe some happiness and joy, right? So it's good as you're able to move up the emotional scale. Of course, if you're grieving something, grieve. I'm not talking about compartmentalizing. I'm just saying, as you're able, move up the emotional scale. So it's up to you to give yourself some ease, turn that boat around. So instead of rowing upstream to the painful emotion, if you can just raise it a little bit, like going neutral, like if there's a big problem in your life, you just lost your wallet. You get all mad and frustrated or sad or scared. And then you get to the place of neutrality. You're like, okay, we'll figure this out. This is fine. We'll figure it out. I'll just get my license. I'll freeze my credit cards, whatever it is. You get to the point of neutrality, which is finding a little bit of ease. And then that's what I mean by and you could use the memories as part of that. Like, oh my gosh, she left me. Well, you can get to remember the really good times, or you can remember some other good things, a great vacation you took with your friend, and have those emotions help you with the memories. So I say just use the memories for really good stuff. Okay. Now, intuition. It's good to develop your intuition. It's super important. It's one of the most powerful, because when intuition hits and it drops into your conscious mind, now your logical conscious mind can use it. If you have a well-developed sense of intuition, that's where all your intuitive hints and helps and tips drop in, and ideas and creative ideas drop in. Write this book, talk to them, call her, develop this business, get on social media, or do this at work, have this one project at work. I remember my then husband years ago, like in 1993, he was writing white papers for the IT world, and he was writing white papers. So he said, oh, Liz, I'm going to write this one white paper. I think we need the white paper on this. And he just stayed after work, and he worked on this gorgeous, beautiful white paper. That's basically marketing. And he was working for Ray Ozzie, who later went to work with Bill Gates. And Ray Ozzie said one day, oh, we need a white paper on such and such. And Andrew goes, here it is. And so it super helped him get a raise at work and stuff like that, because he had an intuitive drop to write that white paper. That's it. So developing intuition is very important. Now, imagination. This is where I talk to clients about using your visualization. Now, how often during the day do we, again, visualize the painful memories, and visualize like, oh my gosh, say visualize something terrible that's going to happen, instead of visualizing what you want. I think it's very valuable and important and vital and indispensable to think about what you want all day long. So let's say you want to make $1 million. Say, make $100,000 a month, or make $100,000 this year, something like that. Whatever your big money is. Think about what you want to do with the money, and imagine having it. You're driving your Ford Bronco. You're on that great vacation to Cancun. You're taking a new vacation to the Maldives, or you're buying the house finally for your family. And you imagine the house, you imagine what it might look like, you imagine the vacation, you're getting on the flight, you're in first class, whatever it is. Get that, use the visualization for your good. Right? And now the will. I would say the will is actually the weakest of these. We use our will to get ourselves to the gym in January, but then we stop going often. Our will is not as strong as like intuition and imagination, but the will can get you up out of bed to do your affirmations sometimes. It can take you a little bit far to use your will to go, no, I'm doing the exercise right now. No, I'm going to wait to eat that till dinner. I'm going to have a little less chocolate today, or whatever it is. You can use your wills for sure, but it has some limits to it. So I want to talk about vibration for a little bit. My coach Arash says focus on what you want all day long. And then it's impossible over time not to get the results you want. It is impossible because it's already created. Like I think I said earlier, you may be down here with your goal about your money, or let's say we're talking relationship. You want to be in the relationship of your dreams. You might be here with a relationship, dating, and nothing's working out, or like everybody's, all the old men are goats and all the women are bitches. Who knows what, right? It's just not working out. The dates are terrible. I have some dating stories, let me tell you. Anyway, and you're here, but you want to be in the relationship of your dreams over here. Well, it's here for you, but you might not be vibing. Like I work with clients. Let me see. Can you see me? Yeah. I work with clients who have very bad attitudes about the gender they're attracted to, or very bad attitudes about their past history with dating, or their ex, or and they don't want to get married again because they're divorced, and they have a lot of negativity to work through. You actually vibrate at a particular level, and you send out the vibration. And so it's kind of like when you're playing a guitar string or a violin string, other instruments in the room will start to vibrate, and that works with us too. So if you're vibrating kind of more cheerful and happy, you'll or whatever it is, you'll get to the vibration of meeting the person, or a vibration of a vibration of the money, or a vibration of the health or the fitness. I was just talking to a girlfriend of mine today who's really down and out. She had a colonoscopy, which isn't the worst thing, but it was worse. It was like really horrible for her to hear about, and she was a little bit down about it, a little bit unhappy with the doctors and stuff like that. And I wasn't at the time. I was kind of commiserating with her at the time, but I would hope that she'd be able to get to the point like, well, it's done, and have a better attitude about her health, because the more we kind of mope around and be depressed about our health, by the way, the more we bring on, poor health. So it's important to get to that vibe of the thing that you want. So let's talk about what a big goal is. Now, what's under here, it says your subconscious mind communicates to you what you want. So here's what a big goal is. I'm going to tell you why I want you to get a big goal. A big goal is something so scary that you can't imagine doing it. Okay? It's so scary you don't even know the how. And you don't need to know the how. The how is none of your business, right? It's something that you've never done before that sounds crazy. Sounds absolutely crazy. And your logical mind will reject it because it doesn't understand it. Like why rent a big, huge ballroom when we can rent the shack down the street? We don't have the money for the big ballroom. No, you don't, but maybe right now. But you can't let your logical mind tell you no, right? That's why I tell my clients, make the decision from the heart right away, because your heart knows what it wants. And then as you envision your end goal and just think about the end goal, like I'm going to have that ballroom, I'm going to have that ballroom for the conference, I'm going to have that ballroom for the presentation of the workshop. It's going to happen. You call the place, you call the hotel, you figure out a down payment, you just know it's going to happen. You don't know the how. Your desire's here, your goal's here. This is where your subconscious mind begins to talk to your superconscious mind, which is God, which is source, which is spirit. And that gives you the intuitive drops of what you need to do next. Or that's when you just bump into the people. There's a story about a woman who needed a serious medical procedure. I don't remember who told the story. There's a woman who needed a very serious medical procedure. And she knew the doctors at her place or her hospital just didn't have the training. She didn't know what to do about it. I think it was a urological problem. And she didn't know what to do. And she was leaving the doctor's office. She wanted a second or a third opinion. And she bumped into actually an acquaintance of hers. She said, "Oh, hi, Sally." "Oh, hi, Lisa." And it turns out that Sally is actually a urologist. And she bumps into her in the parking lot. And she goes, "Oh, I need this thing, oh, the thing." She goes, "Oh my gosh, I can do that procedure. I was just trained in it 2 weeks ago. Have your medical records sent over and we'll figure it out. We'll make the appointment." And this is the kind of thing. So instead of her hunting down for 20 minutes trying to find the right urologist for her needs, she actually just bumped into the person, right? Over the lemons at the grocery store or in the parking lot. And these synchronistic things begin to happen. You don't need to know the how. The how is none of your business. But it's important to pick the big goal because of what it does for you. You grow the fastest. You make the biggest leaps. You more quickly become the person you need to do to have that goal. So I don't recommend people pick small goals. Let's say you want to make $100,000 a month, but you say, "I'm just going to start with 10,000. That's fine. That's safer. I think I know how to do that." Well, actually, there's many ways you can make $10,000 a month. And so your subconscious mind is going to give you these ideas like 100 things you can do. Sure, you can try them, but not all of those are going to get you to the 100,000. There may be only 1 or 2 or 3 ways to get to $100,000. So I would say focus on that, for example. And then your subconscious mind is going to drop into your mind, into your conscious mind, ideas to get right to there. It may take just as long to get to the $100,000 if you go in increments, right? I don't agree with that. I think it's better to go for the big goal, because then you get to the right path that'll get you right there. And it might even be faster. You might get to that goal faster than the 10,000 if you pick the big goal, believe me. And the processes to get there are like I said, easy to do and easy not to do. So how do you know what you want? How do you even figure it out? Well, here are some ways you can figure it out. What do you love? What do you love to do? Okay, the other thing is, let's see, what time is it? Oh yeah, we've been talking for a while. What do you love to do? What did you love to do when you're 5? What are you curious about? What are your hobbies? If you don't have to do, what would you do for free? Right? You can even ask your subconscious mind on the way to sleep at night. Just ask yourself, what do I want to do? What am I here for? What is my mission? Or you could do it in a 10-minute meditation. Enter your meditation if you're sitting, or just sit quiet for a moment. Just say, what am I here to do? What can I do to have my goals? And some ideas will begin to drop in. And you can also do internet searches and stuff like that. Like I said, what would you do for free? These are ways to find out. And you can always reach out to me if you want more help in that area. So like I said, you want to have a really, really, really big goal. It's important to know where you are and where you're going. Right? Don't be obsessed with your current circumstances. It's good to look for a moment at your 5 senses to check, get a read receipt of how you're doing. But then you go inward, create your own weather. Okay? I have this person in the slide jumping over the paradigm, because you need to know where you are and you need to know where you're going. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know what's in the middle. It will be what's under my beautiful faces. It will be challenging at times. It'll be challenging because the paradigm is going to get in the way, and you won't even realize it until you realize it with a coach or a mentor, me, or figuring it out yourself. So you don't need to know the middle. Just know where you want. And when I say act from your goal, you need to think and feel from your goal. Let's say you want to take a great vacation. My girlfriend and I are going to Cancun in a couple months. We've been thinking about it all year. I'm imagining the beaches. We were going to the very same hotel because we loved it. It's a full all-inclusive, so it's like a cruise on the land. We've been saving for it all year. I can imagine being served a margarita by the pool or at the beach. I'm imagining the great Brazilian restaurant and the great Indian restaurant, and the nightlife and the nightclub and whatever. I'm just imagining walking through the hallways. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about how to pay for it. The money will come. I'm not thinking about planning. Yeah, then the time comes, we make the flights. It's time to get the conscious mind going. Then the time comes, right, we need to make we need to reserve the hotel. But I'm just imagining the beaches. I'm imagining how I'm going to feel. I'm going to imagine rooming with my friend and the conversations we're going to have and the talks we're going to take, and going to Tulum and going to Chichen Itza and stuff like that. We're going to go to a cenote, which is a cave pond under the water, in a cave under the ground. Blah blah blah. But we're thinking about that goal. We're not thinking about, oh my God, how are we going to do it? We can't afford it. Make sense? So this concludes this. I just feel like I want to help you go create your dream life. So you can work with me, work with anybody, like I said, via solitary. Now, I'm not seeing any questions here, so if it's over in Facebook and I'm missing it, I'm so sorry. I have a few minutes left. Let me see, what time is it? Yeah. So I have about 12 minutes left to keep it to the hour. So if anyone's here or watching later, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 things to do. The first thing when you get up in the morning, let's say you're laying in bed. You're just laying in bed. You can simply think about 5 things you're grateful for, 5 things you appreciate while you're lying in bed in the dark. Oh, I so appreciate my warm, comfy bed, or my partner lying next to me. I so appreciate the cup of coffee I'm going to have later. I so appreciate the warm shower that might end up with a cold shower if we're doing a little Wim Hof. I so appreciate that I have a job, or that I have the day off, or so appreciate that I'm going to go hiking today with my person. And then you can just lay in bed and do that. Get yourself in a really, really good mood. And then you can think about 5 things that you want to create, that you really want to create, and then you speak about them in the present. So that, let's say, I'm so happy and thankful that I have 1,000 subs on my YouTube channel. I'm so happy and thankful that I sell at least 100 copies of my book every month. I'm so happy and thankful that I get to drive, that I'm going to get that new car next week, or whatever it is. You bring it, that I have my new car. I'm so happy and thankful that I have the new car, even though you don't have it yet. So bring what you want to have into the present and be thankful for it. So that's one thing you can do. And then when you get up and you do your morning routine, you can talk to yourself in the mirror for about a minute and say, just talk really nicely to yourself in the mirror. Just say, I'm so awesome. How did I get to be so awesome? Like I'm financially free. I'm in the relationship with my dreams, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm having the best life. Look at me. I'm so amazing. And you just begin to talk nicely to yourself. Looking at your face with your own eyes in the mirror can really build your self-concept. And the other thing you can do is I tell people to write what I call maybe a life script, where you take 10 to 15 sentences of your very best day, or 10 to 15 sentences about your top goal, like that whatever goal. Let's say you want to make $100,000 a month. You start off, I'm so happy and grateful that I now make $10,000 a month. It's so easy and fun, and I love it. And you write down things like who you need to be, like maybe a better money manager, or more disciplined, or whatever it is, more smart about this or that technique or skill set. And you write down everything you need to become. You write down everything you're experiencing. My partner and I have just bought our new house, and the babies are so happy. We got a new puppy, and then I'm in the best shape of my life. I can do a handstand now, and at the gym, I'm training for the Spartan Warrior Games, whatever you're doing. And you're writing down your best day, and just write it out once every day in the morning. And then the fourth thing I'll tell you to do, and then I'll leave you, is to you can take that script and read it out loud for 10 minutes in a recording device, like on your phone or something like that, and you record it for 10 minutes. So in other words, if it takes a minute to read your life script, you read it 10 times. And so then when you wake up in the morning while you're lying in bed, after you've done your I'm so happy and grateful statements to yourself, you can just listen to that in bed when you're just waking up. And then you can listen to it at night when you go to bed. So I don't know if anyone's here. I'm not seeing anybody in the chat. That's totally cool and fine. I'm going to go, and I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll talk to you soon. And make sure this is posted well on